Hey there friends, how's it going? My name is Raven, and today we are stealing other channels' intros. Yeah, that was Call Me Kevin's intro. I wanted to do that, sorry. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well. It's a fantastic day today. I don't really have much to say for this intro, other than the following collection is going to be a collection of 4 short, scary stories. I loved the first time I did this. Really, I love all my videos, so that's kind of a pointless statement. But I really loved my first collection of scary stories. It was fun to read. So I wanted to do a second one, and hopefully this one comes out just as good. So at the risk of just dragging this on for as long as I possibly can, which, as you know, I can do for a very long time, here is the collection of 4 short, scary stories straight from Reddit. Enjoy. We are nobody. If you find yourself at night in a dark alleyway or a deserted stretch of street, for instance, you would do well to be careful. Simply keep your eyes forward and pray someone up there likes you. After all, who knows what you'll see if your vision strays. Maybe you'll catch a glimpse of something just within your peripheral vision. You could just brush it off, figuring it was just a cat or maybe your imagination. There's always an explanation after all, isn't there? You'll think that until you see it again. This time clearer than before. You'll see the long, dark coat blowing outwards, almost one with the shadows around you. Their eyewear will cast an eerie green glare in what little light there is, and their face, hidden behind a cheap paint respirator mask, hair tucked away under their hood. You realize you are not seeing things in that moment. From here, there are 2 ways this night can end. You could simply continue your journey, no hassle, no further incident. You'll simply sleep this event off and continue your meager existence until other forces catch up to you. Maybe you won't be so lucky though. Maybe this figure will overtake you, faster than one person could, and within moments, all you will see is a frenzied blur of green and darkness. Your body will be found by sunrise, perhaps by some partiers leaving their hedonistic pleasures behind, maybe by some barfly recently evicted from his favorite bar stool, possibly some students heading to class. Who knows? You'll be beaten and battered, covered in wounds, more wounds than one person could possibly inflict. There will be so many shapes and sizes, so many different imprints on your body. How the coroner will have their work cut out for themselves. There will be no DNA, no fingerprints, no witnesses. Your case will eventually go cold, as many have before you, and many more will afterwards. No city is off limits, no state is out of reach from these unfortunate events. Anyone could really be behind these acts. Those kids you see on the street after school, your best friends, your roommate, that cashier at the supermarket. Nobody can be too sure these days. After all, when the moon is high in the sky and we put on this outfit, we are nobody. The Cave. As a child, myself and my cousins used to spend every summer at my grandparents' house. They lived on a large farm in rural Appalachia. Once our chores were done for the day, we were allowed to roam around the property. We could go anywhere we wanted on the property with the exception of one area. Down by the southern edge of the creek, there was an opening to a large cave system. Grandpa told us that we were to never go there. He never would tell us why, only that we couldn't go. For the most part, we obeyed. A few times, we would get close enough to throw rocks at the mouth of the cave. We never saw anything, except one time Jared claimed that he saw a man with no face standing just inside the cave. We teased him about that the rest of the summer. 25 years later, and my grandparents have passed on. My father is getting older, and he doesn't want to work the farm anymore, so he's entrusting it to me. The first couple of months went by pretty smoothly. I was very busy repairing and fixing things around the farm. But a couple of days ago, I remembered the cave and the story that my cousin Jared still swears happened. So I grabbed up my rifle and headed to the cave, just to alleviate my curiosity. At first, nothing was there, just an empty cave. I had turned and started to leave when I heard something. I turned back around, and there in the cave stood my grandparents, just as I remembered them. They were even wearing their favorite outfits. I was certain it was them, but neither one of them had a face. I tried to scream, but nothing would come out. Everything went dim at that moment. I guess I blacked out. When I woke up, I was deep inside the cave. The cavern was lit with low, smoldering torches along the walls. I found myself in a sitting position with my hands bound behind me. Water was dripping on my head. The things that resembled my faceless grandparents were standing together at the entrance of the large, cavernous room. They stood very still, and they seemed to be staring at me, though of course I couldn't tell. And then I heard it. Something large was approaching from even deeper in the cave. Each footstep seemed to reverberate up through the ground, and then it was there, standing right in front of me. Its bottom half was like that of a goat, the top half like a human. It stood over 8 feet tall and had horns coming out of its head, and it had no face. It stood over me, cupping my head in its large hands and searching every inch of my face with its fingers.
"Yes,"
it growled at me.
"You will make a fine addition."
Is this customer service? The recorded apology of waiting on hold cycles over the tinny background music. Then it stops, like falling asleep to the rain, only to be pulled awake after the storm passes. "Hello," a deep voice answered, chocolatey and patient. Expecting another overly enthusiastic cog in the machine of customer service, I pull the phone back, looking into the screen, making sure that I called the right number. "Is this, customer service?" "Absolutely," the voice repeated. "Okay, good. I'm calling about a lost debit card. My name is..." "Absolutely," the monotone voice interrupted. I waited. Did he have more to say? "Do you need my name?" Silence seeped through the other end of the line. Is there someone there, or is this still the automated thing, the machine? "Absolutely." I wait a moment or so, waiting to hear a breath or a cough. Maybe I can wait out the patience of whoever is on the other end of the line. Still nothing. Apparently I have a shorter wick than I thought. I just need this taken care of. Alright, is there somebody there so I can get help with my card? "Absolutely." Meaning you can help me, or that there is a real person on the other end? "Both." The voice cut back almost immediately, the sultry voice giving way to frustration. Thank God. Alright, so I need help with locking my debit card. "Fantastic." Changing it up, I see. 3 words down, only a few million to try out. "Do you need my number or something?" "Absolutely." Scratch what I said. I spin for a moment in my chair, waiting for something other than a word or two. Wait, was that a breath? "Yes," answers the voice. I stopped spinning, and felt something electric, like licking a 9-volt. Hard to describe, yet immediately recognizable. My stomach turns for a moment, dropping as if I was caught doing something. Or like when base is only a few yards away from my hiding spot, but my shoe pushes gravel out from under me, and the back that was facing me whips around, eyes gleaming at his soon-to-be prey. The deep voice picks the word straight out of my head like a ripe peach. The branch bounces back, leaves fall, cloaking the black hand that holds me. Who is this? The small quiver shakes my words. Nothing. Sitting still as the dead, that feeling returns. I remember nights running from my father. He stumbled through the house, a handful of whiskey and a white-knuckled fist wrapped around his... "Worn?" The voice stabs into a repressed memory, gripping me, pushing me back into my seat. "Belt?" Before the held breath escapes, I hang up the phone and slap it on the table. Standing and stepping back, I nearly slam my shoulders against the wall opposite my desk. A drenching cold sweat, short breaths, and goose flesh covering my body, tingling up and back, a relay of nerves. Then, the phone rings. The Broken Promise. Josephine considered the fork in the road. One side led to a broken promise and mysterious dangers, and the other led to death. She took the path that dipped into a wooded valley, a path she had promised Papa after many lectures that she would avoid after sunset. But Papa was at home, in bed, with a fever, dying. It was after midnight, but this path would have her knocking at the doctor's door by dawn. The other path was safer, but longer, and would have certainly led to Papa's death. The wooded path was darker than the road from the farm, and air was still, as though the forest held its breath and would exhale at any moment. Fog hung over the branches and sparkled like dust in the moonlight. The air was colder. Josephine tightened her shawl and prayed, not for her safety, but for Papa to survive the long night. The fever and rashes Papa bore were similar to a disease that took Aunt Florence a year ago. She had nursed him for several days and nights, but he deteriorated. Josephine began her walk after supper, her uncle and family buggy gone for the week, leaving Papa in her little sister's care. Farther along the wooded trail, the fog left the ground in light patches along the road. She recognized certain trees and turns from her day trips, but the moonlight and gray fog transformed everything into a dreamlike foreign land. The fog swirled, forming images familiar to Josephine. 2 wisps curled like dog paws, another puff had bunny ears. Human-like figures formed off the road and dissipated. She imagined what the human figures would say as she walked down the quiet road. So late for a young girl to walk alone, one whispered. Oh, poor thing, probably cold, another voice replied. Josephine rubbed her face. The sleepless nights, nursing Papa, and all her worrying blurred reality and her imagination together. Were the voices only in her head? Come, child, the road is dangerous. Yes, hide in the safety of the fog. Josephine, said a familiar voice. Heed not the voices, stay on the path. Josephine recognized Aunt Florence's voice, though she hadn't heard it since the illness. She put her head down and concentrated on staying in the middle of the road. Join us. Come to our safety. The chorus of voices beckoned Josephine to leave the road. The fog formed thicker ahead, and as she walked through it, a violent tug on her arm spun her sideways. Josephine yelped. Another tug on her hair brought her to one knee. You're in danger, her aunt's voice said as her figure swirled along the roadside and lifted its arms, separating the fog like a curtain and uncovering a path. Seek help this way. Josephine jumped on the path and the fog closed. Poor girl. Yes, seemed like such a nice girl. And to never again be seen alive, said the voice of Josephine's aunt. Well, hello again, my lovely, lovely listener. I hope you enjoyed that. I know after that I want to go walking down a dark road, go spelunking, call customer service about my debit card, and then also go walking through the woods, because all four of those things sound like fantastic things to do, and, you know, those stories didn't dissuade me at all. Not at all. Nope. Not at all. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these stories. If you did, please consider giving this video a like. That really helps a lot more than you know. Also, if you enjoy my voice and my narrations, please consider hitting the subscribe button. That way I know that you're interested in more content. Also, if you enjoyed this, please consider leaving me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I try to interact with everybody, and telling me that you enjoy these really lets me know that I should keep narrating these stories. As always, all of these stories are sourced in the video description, and all credit goes to the original poster. They know how I do things. I like to ask permission, and that's how I do. Yeah, you can also find me on various social media platforms, also in the description, Twitter, Facebook, and my own subreddit now. Woohoo! So if you enjoyed that, please come on back. New videos Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, maybe even more, depending on how things go. But until next time, my dear listener, sleep well.